Oh, sorry, you caught me dancing. Oh, just that might be the best intro song that I have ever heard. Well done to Steve, and welcome to Friday Night Insights. It is our new podcast, replacing the Important Nonsense podcast, our regular. Last year, we were doing a podcast every Friday where we would give you our starts and our sits, and now we're doing it live. You can ask us your questions. You can tell us who you are deciding between, and we will give you the answers that you need. And I say we because I am joined, as always, by @Donald McJordan, Jordan McDonald. Jordan, how's it going, sir?
I'm doing well, Jack. I am excited for a new season of football, and with that comes our new podcast, as you said, Friday Night Insights, or as the kids like to call it, F&I, or I like to call it,
Oh,
and that's what I'm calling it from now on. And by
no.
the reaction that you just gave, I have just that has become a thing now. That's just
I
how it's
I
going to be
know
referred
you
to.
live to make my life worse, and so yeah, I'm
Well,
not surprised.
that's a great
It's a
segue
banter.
to our third guest, or our third, or not a guest. Wow, I'm treating poor
Our third
Jason.
co-host, who is having some technical difficulties, it kind of looks like right now, where he is off of camera. And for those of you listening at home, you might be listening to the podcast version. We're not sure, but there is a live addition to this as well. And so we're going to be making some moves. We're going to be dancing a little bit of dabbing.
Okay, let's not do that.
No, we're not
Nope,
bringing the
nope,
dab
no.
back.
That's my first veto.
Oh,
I noticed he didn't veto F and I, so I respect that. Thank you so much.
no, I can tolerate F and I even if I hate it, but I can also tolerate this Dallas Cowboys versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. It is so good to have football back. It makes me so happy. So I guess we're gonna start talking about it until Jason figures his garbage out. Who knows what's going on with him, but what a game it was. 31-29 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What did you think, Jordan? Tom Brady, he completes 64% of his 50 attempts, 379 yards, 4 TDs, and he had 2 picks, but neither of them were actually his fault. One was Hail Mary, and the other was off his receiver's hands. And so, yeah, what do we think about Tom Brady? Is he back, and is he still Tom Brady?
Based off that game, I would assume so. I want to give the Dallas Cowboys defense a little credit. They did make some moves. They did kind of disrupt Brady a little bit. Like, he wasn't perfect in the completion percentage. He was like just over 60%. He still threw for a lot of yards and touchdowns, but I think that was more of the case that both teams just abandoned the run and we're just like, you know what, if we're going to win this game, we're going to have to throw it far, throw it for the whole night, I guess. And they left Tom Brady a little bit of time left on the clock after that Zerline kick to put the Cowboys up by 1, and Brady does what he does best and marched up the field and got Suck up in a good position to win the game. But yeah, Brady fans will probably, well, Brady fantasy managers too, will be happy to see that he's returning on the investment they put into him, because he was drafted pretty high based on where other quarterbacks were going. Brady doesn't really have a rushing upside, so it's all on his arm. So, if he's got like a game that he had against like the New Orleans Saints last year, the Sunday night game, you're kind of screwed, because if he puts up single digits, then your team's really not going to be doing so well with your quarterback putting up that sort of output. But yeah, I think what we saw from Brady, like you said, the 2 picks weren't really his fault. The one was a Hail Mary, the other one went off Leonard Fournette's hands and into the defense. So I think all in all, good showing by the Buccaneers.
Yeah, and like it becomes easier, like you said, like we don't always love the statue quarterbacks in fantasy because they don't have that Konami code, they don't have that rushing upside. And like when you think about it, 10 rushing yards is 1 fantasy point, which is 25 passing yards or point
Mm-hmm.
one, sorry. So it's just that's how you want to how you typically want your fantasy quarterback to be built. But when Tom Brady, he has Chris Godwin, 13 targets, caught 9, 105 TDs, a couple drops as well, but it's okay because Chris Godwin was balling out. He's also got Gronk, 9 targets, 9 targets, catches 8, 90 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Gronk is back, the longest reigning WWE 24/7 champion ever. Rob Gronkowski is back. He looks good. And remember, he's only 5 months older than Travis Kelce. The consensus tight end won, but he and Gronk are the same age, but Gronk's dead. He's washed. I don't know about that. And I don't know if Antonio Brown's washed either. 5 receptions, 121 yards. That's 24.2 yards per reception and a touchdown. Business is booming for AB. Not so much for Mike Evans, though. He was pretty disappointing. Gets just 6 targets. That's half of what Chris Godwin gets. Only catches 3 for 24 yards. He's basically a decoy out there. Is this the beginning of the end for Mike Evans?
I really hope not, because I have Mike Evans in a redraft league, and I'm afraid to admit that, but it's true. That's what Twitter said. Twitter has proclaimed him as the wide receiver 3 on that team, and I mean that's not even including Rob Gronkowski. So, I really, like I said, I hope not. We saw last year too, and I don't know. I thought this was more because Brady didn't really know the system too well, but. We saw Mike Evans, like a few games where he would just have a touchdown in the red zone and that's it. Like 1 catch, 2 catches with a touchdown. And I was hoping that wouldn't be the case with the full off season with Brady being able to learn the system. I thought all of them could be involved. I'm not ready to write off Evans. Maybe it was just how the game went. Next week, I mean, Evans could be involved. I think they play the Falcons. So like Evans could really go off and we could just, make a joke of this, and then AB would have like the same line as Mike Evans, and we'll be back here saying, "Oh, is Antonio Brown the wide receiver 3?" So I think it might just depend on the week.
And Jason is back at that FF nerd. He has survived his internet issues. Jason, say hello to the people, and then give us your thoughts on the Buccaneers passing attack.
Hey, how's it going? I made it.
Hello.
It's finally here. We're football season in full swing. Let's go. I am so excited for it. On this game, I really think that at this point, it's really going to be split between Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin. It's just, those are going to be your main 2 guys. And then Gronk and Mike Evans are going to be the ones who are going to try and take the end zone target. With the familiarity with Brady, Gronk has that advantage a little bit, which you kind of saw just last night with the 2 TDs. He was there. He's just a big target, and it's hard to look past that, even with as talented as wide receiver as Mike Evans is. It's just one of those things. Antonio Brown has clearly showed that he has finally come back, isn't totally insane anymore, and looked just fantastic last night.
Well, okay, let's just pump the brakes there. We don't know that for sure.
He did punch someone in the face a month ago.
Was it a month ago? Oh God.
It was a long time ago. It's fine.
In terms of the national attention span, you're right. It is a long time. Like even last week doesn't matter anymore when it comes to the NFL. But what does matter is Leonard Fournette is the guy. Ronald Jones. So let's start over. Leonard Fournette, he starts the game. He gets the first drive. The Bucs go 3 and out. That's okay. Second drive, Rojo fumbles. And so Ronald Jones gets pretty much benched after that. He ends up with 4 carries for 14 yards. Not a good look from him. Uncle Len is the guy, but he's not effective either. He gets 7 targets, catches 5. So that's 5 points if you play in these PPR leagues, which is great. But the yardage really wasn't there. He wasn't doing anything too special. Ends up with 59 yards on 14 touches. Not great, but it's better than Ronald Jones, I guess. And then Gio Bernard is there with 3 targets, 2 receptions, and 12 yards, but he doesn't get a carry. So is this truly a committee?
Well, I mean, the big issue with Gio is the fact that he is dealing with the mid to high ankle sprain. So that's something to keep in mind and is a pass catching back. So I wouldn't worry about that too much yet, but it is something to watch moving forward on that in particular. But yeah, I thought we always decided that Leonard Fournette was better. Isn't that right, Jordan? Or is it just me?
Oh, I was completely on Leonard Fournette going into the season. And I think the reason why I was a lot had to do with him in the playoffs and how successful he was. And I made the argument that, Tom Brady came in and he was saying, I didn't figure out this offense until halfway through the season. How do you think Leonard Fournette felt? He was in Jaguars camp. He got cut like a week before. And he got scooped up. He had to learn the system. He had some bumps along the way. I think Arians benched him or didn't play him or made him inactive 1 week. And I think that now another season a full preseason learning the system has helped him. And, with Ronald Jones had that fumble, didn't play. I don't know how many snaps he played afterwards. I don't think it was a lot. And they relied on Leonard Fournette and, they would bring in Bernard on obvious passing down. So yeah, I really think Fournette is the guy. maybe a little bit of Rojo sprinkled in. I think Rojo, and this is just kind of me just going off the handle here. I don't see why Rojo wouldn't be a good trade target for one of these running back needy teams. Because, I don't think he's got much. This might be his last year, Jack. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe this is year 4 of his.
Yeah, so they have no obligation. They have no obligation to Leonard Fournette either, or the other guys, and they have Keyshawn Vaughn, who I think was a 3rd rounder. So unless they are completely giving up on him and just make him inactive the rest of the year, I think Rojo could be a trade target for I don't want to say the Ravens, because I don't think the Ravens would do that, but some team that might need some running back depth could look Rojo's way.
That could be pretty spicy, and that could be a league-winning move in terms of fantasy if he does get traded, because there's no hope in Tampa Bay for him at this point. Glad you brought up Keyshawn Vaughn. Is there any hope of him at all?
Like I said, if they don't move one of the running backs, or knock on wood, one of them gets hurt, I don't think so, because like I said, he's inactive. He's not even on the special team. So what's his role?
Yeah, nothing from him, nothing from OJ Howard. He plays 6 snaps and doesn't get a target. We get Scotty Miller, 9 snaps and no targets. Jalen Darden, the rookie 4th-round receiver, he doesn't play a single snap. And Tyler Johnson, he ends up getting 3 snaps and an incomplete target. So really, like we said, it is the Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin show. Mike Evans and Gronk are going to be kind of the auxiliary options in this passing attack. But you really... The cat's out of the bag, unfortunately. You're not fooling anyone on Chris Godwin now, but maybe you can fool someone and pick up on these Dallas Cowboys. Probably not, though, because Dak is back. He is so freaking good. 72.4% completion, 58 attempts, threw the ball all over the field, 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then he throws an interception, which wasn't on him as well. So it was just a beautiful, beautiful day from this Cowboys passing attack. CeeDee Lamb got all the hype this offseason, but ended up being Amari Cooper, who showed out as the alpha in Dallas. He leads the team with 17 targets, 13 receptions, 139 yards, and 2 touchdowns, all team best. Meanwhile, Lamb, he wasn't bad either. He did overcome a couple early drops, which were really bad, but he ends up with 15 targets, 7 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown. What a day what a clinic of wide receiver play that we just got to see.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely just looking at it, I'm just happy to see that Dak looked good. He looked like his movement was all there. Even with Vita Vea coming after him all game, he was all over the place, still able to get completions down. But the thing I really thought was interesting was looking at the stats for the 2 players between Lamb and Cooper. I posted it in our chat. So if you guys didn't see it or my retweet of it, it was pretty impressive because it was the fact that Cooper had 4 or 5 more catchable targets compared to Lamb. And yet Lamb still had a much better day. And if considering that Gallup had that injury partway through and kind of left, I wonder if he's going to be that mid to deep guy that you really want on the team, because he does have that talent and that route running ability. So it's super pumped for him. But the fact that people just assumed that Cooper was dead, I think you missed out if you didn't get him or tried to trade for him, with everybody being so down on him early in the season, or I guess off season.
Oh, but he's got a bad foot. Amari Cooper's got a bad foot. Well, it turns out he was fine, nothing to worry about. And like you said, Michael Gallup, lots to worry about. He's going to be out about 3 to 5 weeks with a calf injury. The targets are going to be consolidated between Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb like they were last night. And then what else? They have Cedric Wilson. He's an option. Noah Brown, he's an option. Or what about Dalton Schultz? Is he actually the tight end 1 in Dallas? So he ends up leading the tight ends with 6 targets, catches all of them for 45 yards. Blake Jarwin, meanwhile, Jason's big guy, Jason's best friend, he only gets 3 targets and he does catch all of them, but it's just 20 yards. So is Dalton Schultz the man in Dallas, and is he startable?
Well, I think your big issue here is just the fact that you're looking at a player that is coming back off of injury. He needs to kind of get used to playing football again. So I think for now, yeah, Schultz is probably going to be the guy that you want for the next 2-3 games. But once Jarwin is back in full swing, I think that you saw the fact, oh, wait, he didn't drop any of his targets. you kind of want that kind of a guy on your team, especially if CD is struggling and you do need that in-between guy. Since you're not throwing it to Zeke, which also is a whole nother tangent that is frustrating to me. But thanks, Mike McCarthy, for that one.
Yeah, it was a rough outing from Zeke. Is he in a committee now with Tony Pollard? So Tony Pollard, he gets 4 targets, catches all of them for 29 yards. He doesn't get as many carries, just 3, ends up with 14 yards on the ground. Zeke, on the other hand, though, he only ends up getting 2 targets, 11 carries, 13 attempts or touches or opportunities for Zeke. That's rare. That doesn't happen to a bell cow like Ezekiel Elliott. So has he lost his RB1 status, or was this just kind of a fluke?
I mean, I'm really disappointed in how Zeke was utilized last night. And I think I said it, that the Cowboys just abandoned the run early on, which I think was a good idea, because I think without Zach Martin and Vita Vea and Sue just clogging up the running lanes, I think they kind of had to. And yeah, Zeke just, I don't think they don't really use him in a passing game, it doesn't seem like, because they have Tony Pollard. And I think that's great if you have Tony Pollard, because if he can like have like a Nyheim Hines role, I don't think it'll be as that prominent, but just a guy that come in there and just get some dirty work, get some like nice little catches from the slot or whatever from the backfield. I think that'd be good. I think that'll give him a little bit of flex appeal, but I would wait on that. Like, don't put him in your flex week 2 thinking that. But yeah, I think I hope that Zeke has games where he'll get his 20 carries, but this was not a good showing, especially for a guy that was drafted in the first round this year.
Jason's face tells me that he is not about putting Tony Pollard in your flex.
Oh, I know, not like, I'm not saying next week, but I'm saying that if Tony Pollard has a role in this offense and, Gallup's gone, maybe they will look to Pollard's way.
Oh, it's possible. And it turns out that it's just Jason is frozen. I thought he was giving you
so did I, and I'm like, oh, God, he's going to give me the business.
You're about to have your head chewed off by Jason, but it turns out he's just frozen. So we'll continue the conversation.
Well, you know what? I think that the Tony Pollard take just broke him. That was probably the issue.
You just made Jason quit the show because you are talking about Tony Pollard.
See, I thought it was going to be talking about Dalton Schultz's tight end 1, but no, it was my Tony Pollard take. I apologize, Jason.
All right. Well, we'll wait for Jason to come back. But in the meantime, we're also waiting to hear about Saquon Barkley. Is he gonna play? They're not confirming it. He's questionable. He's close to being fully cleared, according to Ian Rappaport. Is it time to panic on Saquon Barkley? Should we bench him and find another player?
I mean, you can't bench guys that you drafted in the first round. If he plays, you have to play him. You have to. And I don't like the matchup. I think it was just like last year when they played the Steelers. I think it was on Monday night. Was that game? And he had like 11 carries for 7 yards or something really ridiculous like that. I'm hoping that's not the case at all, but I don't feel good about this matchup at all. Like, I've any opportunity I can play the Broncos defense, I have, like in DFS or whatever, a few leagues I'm in. It just doesn't look good. And I don't think, especially he's going to be playing limited capacity. It's worrisome, but like I said, unless your team is stacked with running backs and you can afford to bench him, you probably can't. So that's just how it is.
Yeah. I don't know. I really can't think of many situations where I'm benching Saquon. Like, maybe if I can start 2 running backs and my options are like Antonio Gibson and Dalvin Cook, sure, then I understand it. But yeah, no, we're not doing this. We're not benching our studs. We're not benching Saquon Barkley because the coach says he might not be fully healthy and he might be on a limited snap count. Like, no. That's not happening. We love Saquon Barkley, and we love DeAndre Swift as well. He is going to be a full go for week 1. And according to his head coach, he didn't murder anyone, so that is exciting. So the scuttlebutt around the internet, it started on Reddit. It hasn't been substantiated by anyone. I think it's stupid, to be honest. I can't believe I'm talking about it. But Dan Campbell acknowledged it, and he said, yeah, those are internet rumors. I don't feel the need to comment on those because they're dumb. He didn't say they're dumb. I'm adding that. But the lines are checked, and DeAndre Swift is not under investigation for murder, despite what the internet trolls will tell you. And maybe more comes out of this. But in the meantime, the problem with DeAndre Swift isn't off the field. It's on the field because he's lost his left tackle, Taylor Decker. He's going to be out with some finger surgery. Penei Sewell, maybe he moves back to left tackle, but then you still got Matt Nelson at right tackle. So I love DeAndre Swift, but can you start him against the 49ers? This is a ferocious front.
So I think I have to start DeAndre Swift this week. I was kind of against it because I'm a little afraid just of the situation who they're playing against. Because I have Eckler. I'm even more worried about that. But I think I'll be okay. I think he'll have a chance to rack up a lot of catches. Like we said, like he could be the most targeted player on that team. But actually, maybe Hawkinson will. But I like DeAndre Swift could be number 2 easily. But just to end off the rumors, I hope they're not true. Like, I hope that he didn't murder anybody in the offseason, because that would just devastate me as a fan of DeAndre Swift and as somebody who has a lot of shares of him. But if he is found guilty, I just hope that the punishment is swift.
All right. Well, I cannot stand. Thankfully, Jason is back to save me from the terrible jokes that Jordan is making. But what do we think about Austin Eckler and the hamstring? So Brandon Staley, he sounds optimistic, but are you, Jason? Because we've got Justin Jackson. Maybe he's starting now. He's going to be the backup if Eckler plays. He's going to be the starter if he doesn't. Yeah, maybe he's the new Melvin Gordon. Like, so how does this Chargers backfield shake out? Because we know they're an amazing offense.
Well, really? Okay. I'm not worried about Eckler because honestly, he's a fantasy player. He's one of those people that you know is going to be good if he's out there. He's going to play for you guys. That's just the person he is. You can see it in all of his interviews, anywhere he's talking. He's definitely getting one-on-one with everybody. So with that in mind, you can kind of tell that if he was not going to be out, he would tell us. I think Staley is okay. We always knew it was going to be a committee. So Jackson is still going to be the in between the tackles and the goal line kind of a guy, just because that's what he does. That's what he is. He's a bigger guy. He's just more stable. But if Eckler is out, I can see Kelly kind of getting touches, but I really think that the person you want to look at is Larry Roundtree, just because of the fact that he showed that he can be solid. He is a better pass catching back than I think Kelly was, and the fact that Kelly lost out last year to Kalen Ballage should be enough for you guys to realize that he's not that much of a threat. And I hate to sell out on him so early, but it's just one of those things that I think you have to just move on. And I'm guessing that Eckler's going to play. Otherwise, he would say he wasn't, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a nice man, that Austin Eckler. You can't not root for him. Something that's not so nice, though, is the Ravens backfield, and it pains me to talk about it because it's rough. They have lost all 3 of their top backs. They lost J.K. Dobbins a while ago to the ACL injury. They lost Gus Edwards to an ACL injury as well. And now they've lost Justice Hill to an Achilles injury. So they've got Tyson Williams, who is supposed to be the practice squad guy during the season. He's now the technical starter. Le'Veon Bell got signed to the practice squad. He's trying to get back into shape because he hasn't practiced all offseason. He's not in football shape. Meanwhile, they've brought in Devontae Freeman to compete with him. He is in football shape because he was with the Saints all offseason, but they cut him in favor of Latavius Murray, who also signed with the Ravens. Like, this would be the best backfield ever in 2015, but it's 2021. And to round things out, they've got Trenton Cannon, who we can write off. He doesn't matter. But what about the other guys? Like, are any of these new Ravens running backs worth a stash, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly Latavius Murray. He's the one who's best in shape. He's been on the practice squad. He at least made it through. He just didn't want to restructure his contract in New Orleans. I mean, which I completely understand. The dude is a solid back. He's been great. And then at this point, you're kind of looking at Tyson Williams for at least the next couple weeks until the fact that Murray can get comfortable with the system, kind of pick it up, learn what he needs to do. Thankfully, he has a pretty good running back already back there in Lamar Jackson to help him out and open up the lanes for him. So I'm hoping that Jackson can learn how to throw and be a better quarterback. But the fact that he's able to find those lanes and is just that talented, it's hard not to see that any running back that's back there is going to be valuable. So if you're looking for right now, you want Williams. Otherwise, you're looking at Murray, and that's just how it is, in my opinion.
Do you want to address his running back slant at Lamar?
Nope,
okay.
No,
because he knows I'm right. It's okay.
You're not. You're wrong, and Lamar is going to prove you completely wrong this offseason.
I hope so.
Oh, We have a question for Jason. So Latavius Murray is still available in one of Shane's leagues. Thank you for tuning in, Shane. Also has Tyson. Would you hold on to him in the hopes he keeps the role, or are you going to drop him for Murray just in case Murray takes over?
Yeah, I'm assuming at this point that you're not needing a running back right now. And with that in mind, it's definitely Murray for me. It's not even a question because he's just in better shape. And the fact that Williams was, let's see, they lost Edwards, they lost Hill, they lost J.K. Dobbins. So he would have been a 4th-string at that point already. It's not somebody that's really going to show me a whole lot of confidence. And I think the fact that Murray is bringing in that experience and having been in shape compared to Freeman and Bell especially, I would want to have Murray on my team.
I think right now it's Tyson Williams, obviously, because he knows the system, and I know that he was the 4th-string / practice squad guy, but at least for against the Raiders, like if you're going to start one, it's going to be Tyson Williams. Obviously, you can't think that any of the other 3 are going to be relevant if they like had just gotten to camp, especially like Le'Veon Bell. Like so many people just went out of their way to pick up Le'Veon Bell off waivers because it's a name they recognize. It's a fantasy
I know that guy.
Superstar. Yeah, I would love to see Le'Veon Bell have a redemption season, but it's not going to start this week. But yeah, if you're going to start a guy, go with Tyson Williams. The Raiders' rush defense was horrible last year. I don't know if it's gotten any better. And the Ravens love to run the ball, and it's really sad that all 3 of their top guys are gone. So they're going to need some more bodies back there. That's why they grout all these people. Latavius Murray, for me, I think can eventually become the number 1 guy. You know what? I didn't realize this until like I was doing Dynasty Draft this week. He's 31. I didn't realize how old he actually was, but he's still productive. So I kind of agree. I think that he will be the guy. Unless they like they do something like trade for Ronald Jones, like I said earlier, I think that Murray will be the guy in the end.
Yeah, I completely agree with all of that. It's just like Tyson Williams, he's fine. He's going to be a nice story. I hope he does get some run because he deserves it for being the last man standing there. But yes, he is not the star. Latavius Murray could easily come in and be like Mark Ingram was 2 years ago for the Ravens. He could end up finishing as a high-end RB2, top 15 running back, I think is what Mark Ingram did a couple years ago. So it could happen. I think Latavius Murray is the ad right now in Baltimore. But what about the Jets? There's some trouble brewing there because Jamison Crowder, he's out this week with COVID-19. He's not going to play. And then we've got Keelan Cole game time decision with a knee injury. So I think you have to run out and pick up Elijah Moore if you can, or make the trade offer because he's going off this weekend.
I wouldn't go that far in saying he's going off, but he should have a pretty decent weekend. I am excited to see the talent and see what's going to happen there just because of the fact that he will be the guy, but I think the guy behind Corey Davis. I think he's going to be a solid option. It's going to take, here's my thing with rookies. Okay. It's going to take them time to pick up the game. You've already seen Jamar Chase saying he has difficulties with the fact that there's not stripes on the balls. So actually finding it to catch it is difficult. So with that in mind, there is a transitional period that they need to get used to the speed. It's a lot faster. It's just one of those things that you have to take into account when you're looking at rookies. So now, not all rookies, but as you saw, Justin Jefferson, he got caught on pretty quick and did pretty well last year. CeeDee Lamb luckily had a lot of experience around him to help him there too. But it's just one of those things that on an offense that is pretty ugly, outside of Corey Davis, Elijah Moore is probably the guy. But, I mean, you're hoping that he gets double-digit targets and a touchdown because that's really going to be the only way he's relevant.
And Shane would like to thank us for our help because he thinks that we're right, apparently. He thinks Latavius Murray is the correct stash. So we hope that pans out for you. And if not, come back and yell at us because we do deserve it. We are willing to be held accountable. And we'll be held accountable for this question too. So half-point PPR, which 2 of these 4 players should be started? We've got Chase Edmonds at Tennessee. We've got Chase Claypool. I'm loving the Chases on this team. No Jamar Chase, that's shockingly enough. But anyways, Chase Edmonds, Chase Claypool, Laviska Shenault at Houston, or Michael Pittman at Seattle. So they're needing maximum upside after opponent played Amari Cooper. So with the maximum upside in place, I think Michael Pittman is the must start
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I love Pittman this week. He's definitely been somebody I've been pretty pumped for. The fact that it's half PPR kind of makes me want him to go Claypool as a second option, because I do think that he's going to be the big body. He's going to be the one who gets looks in the end zone. Now, if you were wanting to play it safe, I like the amount of work that Chenault's going to get. But again, we don't know who Trevor Lawrence is really going to target in that offense. And with that in mind, even though it's a lot easier matchup, I think I want to go with Claypool just because they have Juju and Johnson to take away the majority of the targets and him be that big body and just a super talent. He's going to be the one who sees the end zone the most, in my opinion.
Yeah, this one's tough because it's a lot of options that aren't like really like don't like pop out. I actually was kind of like leaning towards Chenault because I know that you just said that we don't know who Trevor Lawrence is going to target, but I mean they play Houston, so I feel like play your Jaguars receivers, which I haven't something I have said in a while. Michael Pittman, we're going to get into this a little bit later on about the Colts offense. I don't know how Wentz is going to look. I don't know who he's going to target. I hope the best for Pittman. I really do. But I think that Pittman's a wait and see for me. Like, I'm sure that he was drafted on your bench, so it's not like you're drafting him to start. I know that you're asking this just in case. But yeah, I'd rather go even Chase Edmonds too. Like, I think that could be a
You're looking
shootout.
for upside. That's what you're looking at here.
Yeah.
You want to look at matchups that are going to have upside.
Yeah.
And Buffalo is going to put up points on the Steelers. That's the only reason I went with Claypool on that. I mean, and again, it's Pittman, it's Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz. T.Y.'s out. I think Pittman has kind of shown that he's the talent that they have on the team. And while I really wish, oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name now? Paris Campbell was going to be a big thing. The fact that he can't stay healthy, and when he accelerates and really gets going, it seems he gets hurt. So I think Pittman's the one you want here, just based on that alone.
Yeah, speaking of Paris Campbell, he's dealing with Achilles soreness right now. He's practicing in full today. He was limited all week. Carson Wentz and Quentin Nelson will be back, though. There was concerns they were going to miss the start of the season. They're good to go. So I had this as one of the questions. Is Michael Pittman a must-play versus Seattle? I think he is. I think he's going to be fed the ball like Alshon Jeffrey was back in the day with Carson Wentz. I think it's going to be one of those days for Michael Pittman. So I'm going with Michael Pittman as the first start. And then I think I'm going to go with Laviska Shenault because there's going to be a lot of points put up on this Texans defense. They are bad. They are poo. They are terrible. And DJ Chark is a ghost. He disappeared after he broke his hand, and I don't know if he's even going to play. I haven't heard anything about him in like 3 months at this point. Marvin Jones is great. He's steady. He's reliable, but he's not Laviska Shenault. Laviska Shenault is a Mack truck at the wide receiver position. So I'm saying you start Laviska Shenault, you start Michael Pittman, and I'm shocked that I'm saying don't play Chase Edmonds, but in this case, I am high on these two players.
Yeah, the two of those guys have great matchups. I don't know. I'm a little risk averse in Pittman. I don't know if it's because I'm a Colts fan. I'm just pessimistic about my team 24/7. But Shenault is definitely a guy that I would start. I don't know. For me, I usually just wait until Sunday morning and go on FLA and listen to what Jason says. So that's how I make my roster moves.
All right. So we've got 2 Michael Pittmans, 2 Laviska Shenaults, and a Chase Claypool. And who's your second one, Jordan?
I'd probably go Chase Edmonds. I think that, like I said, I think it's gonna be a high scoring game, and I think Edmonds will get involved. And especially it's half PPR, he's probably gonna see some targets go his way. I think that's just the safe. I always go safe over possible upside, but that's just me.
Yeah, but the question's maximum upside, Jordan. Maximum upside.
Well, that could go either way.
And maximum downside. Well, thank you for your question, Gil. Hopefully that was helpful. If not, again, come back and yell at us because we deserve it. I deserve to be yelled at a lot more than I get yelled at.
All the time.
No, who's going to hold me accountable when I've got sunglasses and a bow tie like this? It is what it is. So anyways, we're going to move on to the Washington football team because Curtis Samuel is headed to the IR, and that makes me very sad because I had drafted a lot of Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, but you need to realize then that means that Diami Brown is going to be a thing already. I am so pumped for it.
So, okay, can I just? I have something I want to say about the whole football team. How can you be so down on rookies like before, and then Dynamic Brown is gonna be like week 1 star?
Because one, you're looking at talent. So I think the fact that Dynamic is one of those people that you're going to chuck the ball with Ryan Fitzpatrick, who has the experience as compared to Zach Wilson, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm taking the guy that's going to chuck the ball against a team that's going to put up points all the time. Like, it's going to be Herbert against Fitz, and it's going to be a shootout. I am here for it. I'm excited. Man, I was pumped for Curtis Samuel, but the fact that he has missed so much with COVID protocols already, and now this, Miami is set up to be so good with the fact that McLaurin's going to have a majority of the stuff in between. Thomas is there. Gibson, it's so loaded that Miami is going to be the one who really stretches the field here.
Yeah, I don't know. I just say don't sleep on Adam Humphries. He's still around there.
No,
I think
you should absolutely.
That's from Thomas.
On Adam Humphries.
He's taking targets from Thomas. That's how that works.
For me, Logan Thomas, it's a little bit good now with Samuel out, but Thomas for me, I felt like was way overdrafted. I feel like they brought in so many people to compete for targets there that I thought, like, I think Logan Thomas is a fine tight end to have, but like 6th round, no, thank you, not for me. But he could be relevant again with no Curtis Samuel and inexperienced guys like Dynamic Brown. They still have Cam Sims. Will Cam Sims be relevant? Who knows? But I think the only person on that team that I am really excited for right now is, well, besides Gibson, is Terry McLaurin. I think Terry McLaurin to the moon with Samuel out. I think he's going to be like 15 targets per game with Samuel not there.
Yeah, and there's a good chance, though, that people need to fill in with Curtis Samuel this week with him being out. And me personally, I need to do it a little bit in places where I also have Will Fuller, who's out on the 1-week suspension. I built all these lineups thinking, Curtis Samuel, Will Fuller, I'll rotate them out. Curtis can play week 1. Nope, that's not happening. So I'm a little bit jaded about that. But anyways, we're going to run through some guys that you don't have to worry about. They're on the injury report. There's conversations, but we just want you to know you don't have to worry about AJ Brown. He had 2 knee surgeries this offseason. He missed every Wednesday practice of the year last year. Don't worry about him. He's going to play. Don't be surprised if he does this all year. Same with Julio Jones. He's kind of eased in early to the week. This is going to happen. Brandon Ayuk, he's back from a hamstring injury. Don't worry about him. Don't worry about Odell Beckham because he's being eased back as well because he's old and he's got bad knees. They're just taking their time. Kenny Golladay, he's off the injury report. Cortland Sutton, he's going to be full go. So all of these studs that you drafted in the first 5 rounds, play them. Don't worry about, the injury. You got to play these guys, right? And Jason, you're shaking your head. No?
Yeah, no, not Kenny Golladay.
Not Kenny.
Not doing it. I'm not risking that horse at all.
Okay, maybe not Kenny Golladay against the Broncos.
But I'm completely in on OBJ right now because if he is good to go in that shootout of a game, I am so pumped to see him, whether he is going to throw a touchdown or he's going to catch that long bomb from Landry. I am excited for that play to happen because it's going to happen. It's happening this week against the Chiefs, and they're not going to be ready for it. I'm pumped for him.
Jason. Anyways, Darnell Mooney, he's been limited with a back too. He's fine, which is fine, but the Bears aren't fine at all because they're starting Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I know about that. So I wouldn't be saying this if they were playing a team like the Lions, like they played the Lions week 1 last year, but they're playing the Rams, who were the best scoring defense last year. I think we see Fields in this game. I honestly believe that. I think it will be second half, but I think that the Rams are going to come out like guns blazing. Offense, defense are going to be clicking. We'll get into Stafford a little later, but I think that Dalton's going to look like crap. And I really do. I don't think he's going to look good. And I think Fields is going to come in because I don't think
you don't think the beard's enough to save him?
No, I really don't. I think that like if they're down by 2 scores and they need some sort of like kick in the butt, Nagy's going to put in Fields. Like I don't care all the stuff he said about Dalton being a starter, giving him the vote of confidence. I just think it's to appease him and just to make sure. But I don't think he believes anything. I think first sign of weakness, Fields goes in.
Normally, I would agree, except for the fact that I think they want to keep Fields alive.
Well, you know what? You got to win football games.
Not the first one. I'm really willing to sacrifice Dalton at this point. Put him out there, let him do his thing, and save Fields for the easier matchups upcoming.
Against the Bengals in week 2, you don't think Andy Dalton's going to get the revenge game against the Bengals? You think they're going to turn to the rookie? Andy might cry.
That would be interesting. So if Fields goes in and just lays an egg, then yes. But I think if Fields comes out and just shows off and him and A-Rob put up like 100 yards each, then there's no way you can't go back. I don't care if it's a revenge game. No.
Let's hope. Let's just hope that we see Justin Fields at some point. And let's hope that Hunter Henry does play like he says he's going to. We're going to talk tight ends real quick because Evan Ingram, he's not playing, which is fine. Not a lot of people are in on Evan Ingram, and you can do better for sure. Hunter Henry, he expects to play. That might hurt Jonnu Smith a little bit. And Noah Fant, he's going to be playing in full for the Broncos. So that's kind of our injury report that we finally wrapped up. Now it's Jason's favorite time of the show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we're going to get into all the fun stuff. I hate this game so much because I'm going against experts that have picked a top 12 for each week. And then I have to go and find players that are under 50% rostered that I think are going to be a top 12 player or top 24 for running backs and top 36 for wide receivers. But still, the fact that I have to find people that are under 50% rostered is so difficult. So we'll do this and be okay with it. I'm going to start with quarterback. Okay, so these are people that I think could be in the top 12 that aren't currently ranked in the top 12 according to the ECR. And I'm starting with Matt Ryan. Great matchup. The fact that they still don't have a defense that's super, they don't really have a running game. They got Mike Davis in there. Not something I'm super in on clearly, but he should have some opportunities. He's going to steal some of the touchdowns, which is really frustrating. But Calvin Ridley, excellent wide receiver. Russell Gage, they showed last year that they could be completely fine. Oh, wait, and now the team has added a tight end that everybody seems to love. I mean, he was overdrafted, so I'm being a little harsh on that. But just because of his price, the fact that they have Kyle Pitts is going to be a huge asset for their team. Ryan is going to have to throw because Hurts is going to be running all over the place, and neither team really has that great of a defense. So this should be a shootout. I can see the fact that Ryan's probably going to throw for over 300 yards. Last year, he averaged 285, and he averaged 1.6 touchdowns. So this year, I think in this first game, over 300 yards and 2+ touchdowns makes him a pretty solid start this week.
Yeah, we're starting on a good note on this, Jason, because I fully agree with this. I actually quickly, and I agree with the Jalen Hurts thing too. I think both quarterbacks are great, and one of my DFSs is actually like a weekly Superflex DFS. It's weird. I won't say who it is because no free plugs, but I actually have Jalen Hurts and Matt Ryan as my quarterback Superflex. I think this is going to be a blowout. Oh, not like a barn burner. I think it's going to be high scoring, and I think everyone involved is going to be fantasy relevant. Kind of like what we saw last night, except for Mike.
That is exactly what I'm expecting to happen.
Mike Evans and Zeke.
Well, it's fine because Mike Evans is going to be someone like Travis Fulgham or something. We don't care about that. So,
shameless plug for you talking about a tournament. I mean, you should sign up and go against these experts that we have at Important Nonsense and play for the belt that we have up for you guys from Trophy Smack. Right?
Yeah, from Trophy Smack over on DraftKings, we run a weekly competition, and if you end up winning the competition, you're going to get the belt, and you're going to get a free subscription to Important Nonsense. So make sure you check that out because it is you can try and beat me. You can see if you know better than Jack. I know you don't, and we'll prove that, but you can try at least anyways. Just like Carson Wentz can try, right, Jason?
Oh, yeah. That's my other start for this week, and I'm excited just because, okay, he's a starter now. He's healthy. We'll see. I'm really hoping that he plays well just because I love the matchup. It's the Seahawks. Wilson's going to be putting up points. I'm a little nervous because of the fact that, they decided to fire their OC and because he wasn't running the ball enough. So I'm still hoping that Wilson's going to be able to find some spark here. And the fact that the Seahawks gave up 24.7 fantasy points to the quarterback position last year is just mind-blowing. Granted, it was last year, so it's a little different. I don't think it's that much different, to be completely honest. So I'm excited to see Wentz do this. The fact that they have Taylor there to help, he's going to be able to check down to Hines. They still have Mo Alley-Cox and Jack Doyle, and then, of course, all the great Pittman and Paris Campbell, and I will say great, but I'm excited for Pittman this year. I keep doing that. The P's are getting me, but I'm just so excited to see what Carson Wentz can do. And I really and the fact that he should be mobile. The fact that he is a mobile quarterback and can extend plays as compared to last year with Phillip Rivers, it's a completely different look for this team, and I'm excited for it.
I hate that you said literally I don't know if you said him or not. Zach Pascal is very slept on. Like the fact that you didn't say Pascal, but you brought up Mo Alley Cox and Jack Doyle, like they're gonna be like fantasy superstars this week. You know what? I'm not risking it. I'm not going to start Carson Wentz this week. There was too much dysfunction in the preseason with his foot surgery and going on COVID, and I'm not going to get into that sort of stuff because I just don't want to. But it's going to be tough. And they're playing the Seahawks, who I think are going to sling the ball around. So I think Wentz could be good this week, but like I said, it's too risky for me, especially with unproven weapons. Like I know Pittman could have a great year this year, but we don't know that. So I'm just going to wait.
And I get that. But now we're going to my sits. The other side of that ball, we have Russell Wilson. This team literally fired their OC, as I said earlier, to run the ball. Like, he wasn't running the ball enough. What are they doing? I don't understand why they aren't letting this man cook and throw the ball around more. So that makes him lower on my schedule because of the fact that I think that Carson's going to get the work. Carson is good enough that he can literally take the ball and do all the work and not be that big of an issue. Granted, it is a Colts defense. I'm trying to be nice here, Jordan. Gave you some respect on your Colts, but still, I just don't see it happening. They want to slow the game down, and I hate it for that portion of it. And why I have to put him on there is just the fact that they want to run the ball, and it's Pete Carroll.
Okay. First of all, it doesn't matter who they're playing. You're not going to be sitting Russell Wilson week 1. You drafted him unless you're one of those people that takes 2 quarterbacks in the first 7 rounds, and you have like Kyler Murray.
Yeah, unless you have Kyler Murray or
Jalen Hurts.
And second of all, I think that Russell Wilson's gonna have a massive day because as good as the Colts defense is, their front 4, maybe even their front 7, including Darius Leonard and their linebackers, I think they're gonna bottle up Carson and they're not gonna be able to run the ball at all. So Russell Wilson's gonna throw the ball. They don't have Xavier Rhodes, who's arguably their best outside corner. They're going to have such a hard time trying to cover DK Metcalf and Lockett. I think Russ is going to cook. I think Russ could have a chance to be the QB1. I really do, because I think that if the Colts are going to, let up and, let Wilson cook, or let Russ cook, sorry. I think this game could be a little bit high scoring, but I don't think the Colts are going to be able to keep up with those two wide receivers. So yeah, Russ for me is a must start.
Yeah, I'm with you here. Like I think that both teams, like I think it's going to be another kind of a barn burner. I don't think Seattle can stop Carson Wentz, and I know that the Colts without Xavier Rhodes can't stop Russell Wilson. He's going to cook. Yes, they're going to try and run the ball, but it's not going to work. And so in the fourth quarter, Russ is going to throw for 200 plus yards in that quarter alone.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
Yeah. If you can't tell, I like to kind of look at game scripts. So I'm going with the next guy. It's Matthew Stafford. I know. New team, new quarterback that you are pumped for him to be playing. Has great weapons as compared to being on the Lions. Absolutely love the guy. But I think that they get up easy. And so they're able to run it out and see what they have with all the running backs that they have there. I think Henderson's going to get a lot of the work. And this Bears defense isn't what it used to be. I mean, it's very rough in the fact that they are just going to be able to run it out and really play the game that the Bears want them to play and still just defeat them so badly makes me think that Stafford isn't going to be great. I mean, last year the Bears weren't great and they allowed 21.3 fantasy points to quarterbacks. Come on. You don't want that as your QB1 on the week. That's not the person you're going to be starting when there's other options out there for the top 12. And I just don't see Stafford doing it.
I don't know. I'm a little higher on Stafford. I said this before. I don't think the Bears are going to be very good. Like you said, I agree that their defense has regressed heavily since Vic Fangio left for the Broncos, and they never really replaced Kyle Fuller. Like they tried with Desmond Trufant, and they let him go. I actually had to look this up. But so Jalen Johnson's their one starting quarterback. Their other one, according to ESPN, Kendall Vildor.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. I don't know who that is.
He is a fifth sixth round pick out of Georgia Southern. So I know who he is, but I'm a friggin' dweeb.
Yeah, no, you knew you probably know who he is, but you get my point. You get my point. So
everyone else,
I think McVay and Stafford are gonna like cook up some magic. I think we're gonna see Stafford go off against a team that he knows too. Like I don't know how much that will really help him, but at least he's played the Bears enough times to like kind of know what they're about. So I think Stafford could have a good day, but I get the little bit of a hesitancy to play him. I'm starting him, so I mean I hope for the best.
Yeah, I'm starting him as well.
All right, fine. We'll move on to the running backs. Okay. And we're starting with the game that I think is probably going to be the highest scoring game of the week. It's the Chiefs versus the Browns. And I'm thinking that Kareem Hunt is going to be used mostly in the second half of the game because I think the Chubb is going to be so great in the first half that you're going to be able to get the PPR value out of Hunt to have him be effective and be in that top 24 just because, that was a huge weakness of the Chiefs last year was a passing running back. They were able to get into that center spot and just really tear up defenses that way or tear up the Chiefs that way because the Chiefs didn't really care. They were going to score no matter what, but they gave up 24.8 fantasy points to the running backs. And that's just an area that he really seems to be the biggest asset for the team, especially with, like we mentioned, OBJ having some issues with being old and kind of busted. He still has the talent to do it, but I can see them leaning on the run as expected. So,
yeah. So for me, like Kareem Hunt, I try to avoid unless I have drafted Nick Chubb, just because like you don't know what weeks you're going to be able to play him if Nick Chubb is there. Because I know like their run game is so great. They have a great offensive line. They love running the ball, so he'll always have some flex appeal. And I think this week, especially like for the reasons you said. So I agree. I would start if I have him, but like I just any team that I see that has Hunt as their RB2, I laugh at, and I just think like, why are you limiting yourself to that? Like, draft a starter.
Yeah,
draft a starter for your RB2.
Like, you have to play him because you drafted him in the 5th round. You have to play that guy, but like, you shouldn't have drafted him in the 5th round. He's a satellite back.
That's where he's going. And that's where they blame the fantasy formats because they have him. People are just like, oh, cool, I know that guy.
And I don't blame Jason for making the suggestion either.
Yeah, no, it's a good pick, Jason.
Suggestion. It's just you should have made a better pick with your team.
And he's under 50% rostered, so I'm throwing it out there as one of those things that if you're, say for example, you had all the Baltimore running backs, I might actually play him over Williams or. I mean, that's just something that you kind of have to take into account when you're looking at this. And so he's one player. And the other one, I think Jack is really going to love here for my other start this week. No. And it's Ty Johnson. I mean, while Coleman gets to start here, okay, woo! Ty Johnson is going to be the majority back that just Jack will love. I mean, he's a good pass catcher. You've seen him do it in the past. He has familiarity here. He's able to pass block. And I really think that he's going to win the job over Coleman. When it really comes down to it, he's a better all-around back. And until Carter really gets up to speed as a rookie, I don't see them getting away from Ty Johnson, especially since, they have no help. I mean, that defense is just going to give up points, so they're going to have to move the ball in doing it different ways. Johnson allows them to do that.
I don't know. I kind of am going to avoid starting a Jets running back. Just I want to see how that committee looks. I think Ty Johnson's rosterable, but I don't think I would start him. Just because we don't know what to expect. This is a whole new offense, new quarterback, 3 new running backs. So I don't know. That's just me. Let's see what Jack says.
No, I am completely fine with starting Ty Johnson.
Of course, right? Yeah, I don't know why I thought otherwise.
I drafted a lot of Ty Johnson, so no argument here. I am proud of you once again, Jason. Let's hear who your sits are.
Yeah, this is also not surprised if you've paid attention at all to important nonsense in the offseason or just us ever. It's Miles Sanders, okay? I know, great quarterback, able to move the ball, but man, this running game is still a mess. They drafted Kenny Gainwell. They brought in Kerryon Johnson and cut him. Jordan Howard's there. I mean, Boston Scott is going to be the pass catcher. Kenneth Gainwell is going to be a pass catcher. I think both have options over Sanders. And the fact that it's that big of a committee already like it terrifies me for Miles Sanders. Oh yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Steve, if you want to reference it, go back and listen to the episode on the Philadelphia Eagles that Steve and Neil do on the Important Nonsense Show, because of the fact that I'm pretty sure it was 3 plays that got a majority of Miles Sanders points last year, and that is just disgusting to me. It's always a broken play for like 80 plus yards and a touchdown, and I just don't see it happening. I don't understand how he gets that lucky, but it's not something that you can ever bet on, and I'm not betting on it.
I'm actually starting to warm up to Sanders with getting rid of those other guys like Carrion and Howard, because I was worried if they're on the team that they're going to take away carries, but Gainwell and Scott, I don't think there's going to be much competition. Still think he's the RB1 on the team. I would play Sanders because, like I said, this could be a barn burner of a game, and I think Sanders will have opportunities. Plus, you drafted him with the intention to start him, so I'm keeping him in my lineup.
Yeah, it's one of, it doesn't feel good, but you got your options probably aren't that good otherwise. Like Miles Sanders is the exact same as your next guy, Jason, which is Josh Jacobs. They are the same player to me. Like you don't feel good about them, but you drafted them at such a good value that like you kind of have to play them, and it doesn't feel good, but you gotta.
Yeah, and because it's Jacobs, I don't think it's Jacobs' fault. I really think it's Gruden's fault as a coach for not allowing him to have more versatility in his options. Like the fact that he's not a big pass catcher, the fact that they don't use him more, it just blows me away. He does continue to get injured, but again, against this Ravens back defensive front, I'm not able to trust it, and they're going to have to throw because the Ravens are going to be able to move the ball. So with that in mind, I can't trust Josh Jacobs. Man, is Gruden so frustrating when it comes to this, and bringing in Kenyon Drake just makes it a huge mess because he is another talented back.
Yeah, I don't have any Jacobs shares in redraft. I'm glad I don't because I'm not stuck with this issue. But like I like Sanders better than Jacobs. Jacobs worries me really just because of Kenyon Drake. So yeah, good luck with that for anybody that has to play Jacobs this week.
Not a great play. So we'll move on to wide receivers here. And the first one, brought it up earlier, Russell Gage. I mean, the team's going to be throwing a lot. He's going to have Ridley to take away the main coverage. And even with Julio last year, Gage had success on the field. It's just one of those things that with these options that Ryan's going to have to throw, Gage has a chance to be in the top 36 because there's not enough wide receivers that are that great, in my opinion, especially if you look at like true number one wide receivers. You know, you're looking at Hill, you're looking at Adams that really dominate all the targets on their team when it comes to that case. Doesn't allow for a second. While Ridley will demand some of that, well, majority of it, Gage is going to have that opportunity. Oh yeah, and the Eagles allowed 39.6 fantasy points to wide receivers. So even if he gets a third of that, I think you'll be happy with him as a wide receiver on your team.
Yeah, people seem to forget that Gage had 110 targets last season. That was with Julio on the team. I know he wasn't healthy for most of the season, but I don't care. That's a lot of targets. I think Pitts will eventually be the number 2, but I don't know if it will start in the first game. Like I said before, player Falcons, player Eagles, and I really like Gage as a DFS option as well.
Yeah, and I brought up the next guy earlier too, and it's Elijah Moore. I'm not doing it.
We are all in on this dance, aren't we? I love it.
I can't do it. I mean, you have to put him out there. All the option is there. He's going to be the pass catcher. He's going to get a lot of targets. It's between him and Davis. This is going to be a big game, and he's going to get the targets. So it's hard not to. Panthers gave up 36 fantasy points to wide receivers. Again, probably 24 of them, maybe 20 of them are going to go to Corey Davis. So I'm good having 16 for Elijah Moore here.
Yeah, I only reason I agree with this because Crowder's out. Otherwise, I wouldn't. But yeah, I think that there's an opportunity here for Moore to have a big game in his first NFL start.
He is just a stud. Elijah Moore. If there is a Justin Jefferson in this class, it's Elijah Moore.
That's a brave take just because of the quarterback play here. But we'll move into sits and talking about really crazy plays. I'm not in Brandon Ayuk this year, not just week, but this year, just because of the fact that there is not a big enough pass. What's up? Not enough passing option here. Devo's the better athlete in every measurable. And the fact that Kittle is still going to be the number one pass catcher on the team on a run first offense, it's hard to see him having enough value.
Well, for me, Debo's the floor play because I think Debo gets involved enough where he'll be relevant. But Ayuk, man, like, did you see every time he was healthy, he was averaging like close to 8 or 9 targets per game. And against this Lions defense, Jack, you can back me up on this. Not very good. Very inexperienced secondary. So Ayuk, I would play Ayuk over Debo, but I think both of them are great plays this week.
Very inexperienced, and Jeff Okudah, he's only in his second year, and the veteran on the team is Amani Oruwariye. He's in his third year, and then they have 3 rookies, and that's it. That's all their corners. And like, so here is the ceiling. Like, that's like kind of what you're looking for. You're looking for someone with a high ceiling. Brandon Ayuk just busting through that ceiling. He's going to have at least one 70-yard touchdown against the Lions. It's going to happen. He's going to torch someone, and that one play is going to make up for all your fantasy points this week.
I mean, you can hope. I just don't see it happening. I think Debo's the guy. The other one is even more spicy because I think he really is the only wide receiver option, and it's Devante Smith. I mean, another rookie, has already been dealing with injuries, and like I said, I like Hurts. Great value. He's able to move around. They have ways of moving the ball, but I really think that it's going to be your tight ends that are going to do that. And I really think it's going to be Ertz over Goddard here that is going to see more of the targets. But again, it's just one of those things that I just don't see him having the success with Quez Watkins being the guy that we saw in preseason. He was really solid and was kind of amazed that he is probably going to be the one until Smith decides what he's going to do and is healthy enough to be it.
Yes.
And then
Southern Miss Golden Eagle, Quez Watkins. We love it. We love it.
And of course, I can also see Rager taking a long one in and scoring. And there's just not enough there for Smith to be that viable option that you want to play this week.
Yeah, I don't really want to contradict myself because I said play your Eagles, play your Falcons. So, like, I still think he's startable, but yeah, the injury kind of worries me. I don't know if that will affect him going into this game, but it really depends on who Hurts wants to target. Like, will it be Goddard or Ertz? Will it be Devante Smith? Like, people have seen written off Rager after one season. I think Rager will have a great bounce back season. I certainly hope so. And yeah, I'm a little worried about Smith though, just where he fits on this team. I think eventually he'll be the wide receiver 1, but it might be a little bit before he does.
Well, if we're starting our Eagles, what about tight end, Jason?
Oh yeah, it's Zach Ertz, baby.
What? What? No, not him.
I have to.
Eagles tight end.
I have to. I think that they are going to try and showcase him to get him on the trade block and get some value out of it because teams want that experienced player to be the tight end. They've shown that he can still hang. And last year, he was fine. I mean, in comparison to a lot of tight ends out there, he's a player that you can get some value back and be completely happy with it. And so, again, I think they're going to try and showcase him. And I think they're going to use Goddard, but it's going to be more to block and allow Ertz to get open. And so it's just one of those things that I'm drawing a line in the sand, and he's the guy I'm going with.
I'm not responding to this.
Yeah, this is insane.
Especially
it's Dallas Goddard.
Especially what's coming up. I'm not responding to this.
Why? You don't like Juwan Johnson? Because he's the option behind Marquez Callaway for the Saints. With Troutman being out, I think he's the next pass catcher. And I'm taking it from Nee Wallace Bruce because I like it. Man, the fact that he's a wide receiver going to tight end, it's a huge plus for him. With Kamara being the center and Callaway being the true wide receiver, having Juwan out there is going to be a huge asset to this team and allow you to really have someone to fire up.
No, I like the Juwan Johnson pick. I really do. The Saints are going to have
You're talking about the sit?
Yeah, Juwan Johnson could be relevant considering the Packers the Saints will need to throw the ball to keep up with Rodgers and the Packers, and they just can't rely on just Kamara and Callaway. So yeah, Juwan Johnson. I mean, it's a dart throw, but it could you could benefit from it.
Could be a huge payoff.
I was a little surprised that Jordan hated it so much, but it's the sits he hates because I agree. Like Juwan Johnson, I'm a big Adam Troutman guy. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he's playing. He's hurt, and so anyways, early on, Juwan Johnson, he could be the Jared Cook of the team. He could be that solid tight end that we need, and he's a former wide receiver, so we love it. So yeah, I'm glad we have come to a consensus that Juwan Johnson might be the next Logan Thomas sleeper tight end. But anyways, let's get to the sits because this is where we have some problems, sir.
Yeah, and it's because of the fact that I'm sitting Dallas Goedert on the other side of the ball because I think they're going to use him to block. I mean, I think that they want to get rid of Ertz, and that's the best way to do it is to show the fact that he is a better pass catcher. He isn't, but they're going to want to show that, and I'm drawing a line, and that's where I'm going with it because it has to be Goddard that sits, and everybody's so high on him. I think it's the other side of the ball.
Yeah, I'm not co-signing this. I think if you're going to start a Eagles tight end, like I would start Goddard over Ertz. But you know what? I have a feeling, Jack, that Ertz is actually going to have a better game, and Jason won't let it go for the whole season.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it, but
You're ready to be wrong. All right.
yeah, bad process isn't a good thing though. So close. Let's hear your final tight end before we close things out with the kickers and defenses that people need to hear.
Yeah, and I brought it up earlier. I think that the Rams are going to be able to run the ball, so I'm sitting Tyler Higbee. I mean, granted, I know that Stafford really liked Hawkinson, but he was also the only pass catcher really there for him, and at least there and healthy, especially in his last year. So I think a lot of people are saying that and are expecting him to be a huge value, which he could be. But right now and in this game, I'm not trusting it, and I'm sitting Tyler Higbee.
Well, it makes sense if you're sitting Matt Stafford, you have to sit Tyler Higbee. That would be a big contradiction. See, I am not starting Tyler Higbee, but I am starting Matthew Stafford. That's because I love Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. So that's where we differ, but I agree. Sit Tyler Higbee. What about you, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm not a big Higbee guy. I never really was, especially last year when he was overdrafted after that massive 5 games he had to end out 2019. But then again, people draft Higbee to start him. If you're unless you have a better option, you're probably stuck with Higbee. So he could play well. That's one where I wouldn't be too worried about it. But personally, I wouldn't be in that situation.
Yeah, but some people are, unfortunately, and that's just kind of how it goes.
No, I mean,
so moving into defenses, not a surprise here, but I'm starting the Miami Dolphins. They're going up against a rookie quarterback and the Patriots, which don't have a whole lot of pass catching options. I absolutely love Harris. I love Myers, but last year in their 2 games, their max score combined was 44 points, and it was 22-12. I'm just saying that that's not an option. And so the fact that they're going to be slow, I don't think they're going to move the ball very effectively. I love Jones and his accuracy, but I think they want to establish the run and have checkdowns with Harris and White as the options and really just allow Jones to get comfortable with the offense. I just see this game going very slowly, and so the Dolphins should be a great defensive option for you that you're able to pick up.
But yeah, Mac Jones, who?
No, I like
Jones.
It. Jason, I like that one. I actually think that's a smart one. The one that people are really looking at. I think that could be a good way if you need a better defense than the one you have. But
if you were thinking about playing Tampa Bay last night and that was a big mistake, yeah.
Yeah, unless you bench them, because if you didn't, you're screwed now. But yeah. If you thought, I don't want to play Tampa Bay, I need a streamer. Yeah, I think Dolphins could be a good one.
Another one is also the Steelers, or if you'd had picked up the Browns, this is a great one.
Okay, let's stop now. Let's stop before you start going out tangent.
Yeah, I love defense. Sorry, I looked way too much into this. And my sit is on the clear other side of it in the Carolina Panthers. It's trash. I don't trust it. Sam Darnold is going to be able to move the ball, and I just don't see him having to really, really demolish this game. I think this game could be high scoring, and that just destroys the Panthers defense because, there isn't one. So something to keep in mind, and I'm not trusting Panthers as somebody that I would play.
Yeah. I think
I can't argue with you there.
Yeah. Like I said, we don't know what the Jets are going to do. The Jets could come out and look like the best offense we've ever seen.
Yeah. They upgraded their line. They have Zach Wilson, who I wasn't the biggest fan of in the draft, but he has looked damn good in the NFL. Corey Davis looks like he's rejuvenated. You can't play these Panthers because even though the Jets offense, we don't know what they are, I'm pretty positive they're better than the Panthers defense.
Yeah. And the Jets literally upgraded everywhere. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. They got rid of Chris Herndon, was an upgrade. So I think that and they got rid of Adam Gase, upgrade.
Yep, in comes Salah.
Well, no, Mike LaFleur, but still. Bringing over that San Fran magic.
Gonna be great. I'm pumped for it. So we're moving to kickers here, and we're looking at, Chase McLaughlin, which is making me nervous now because they're saying he's potentially not going to be playing. Makes me a little nervous. So whatever the Cleveland kicker is, that is going to be a player that you want to play because I don't care how it's going to happen. Cleveland is going to have to put up points, and they're going to take anything that they can get, especially against this Chiefs D. So one of those things to keep in mind, they could easily put up points, and it's one of those games that you want the kicker in.
I hope justice for Chase McLaughlin. I hope he ends up being the kicker because he's been that guy's a journeyman already. I think he's only like a 3-year pro, so I think that'd be.
He played for 4 teams in one season.
Yeah, pretty impressive. And then we'll go to the sit, and it's unfortunately, sorry, Jordan, it's Rodrigo Blankenship because the goggles aren't going to help him this week. I think it's too low scoring, which means extra points and not field goals. Sorry, man.
Okay, well, first of all, it's going to be very high scoring, and I don't understand this because with your rationale with kickers, he checks both boxes. He plays for a team that might not score touchdowns right away and have to settle for field goals, and he plays in the dome.
But it's Seattle.
Okay, well,
it's Seattle. That's the whole thing. They're going to be able to score, so it's going to be an extra point. It's going to be 1 point instead of 3. Like, which one is better? It's this one. It's always going to be this one.
We'll agree to disagree because I'm not.
Yeah, I am never sitting my best friend Rodrigo Blankenship. I there's somewhere around here. I even have Rodrigo Blankenship goggles. Maybe I'll wear them sometime on the stream. But no, we are all in on Rodrigo Blankenship.
You are. I'm not. I'm selling out on him this week. Sorry, Rodrigo.
Can I just say something before we sign off? I just have a question for Jason. So, Jason, I'm playing Jack this week in a league, and I need your help. I need your help with the flex. So, I have 2 flex spots. I have Henry Ruggs, Trey Sermon, Anthony Ferkser, who I think could do well against the Cardinals, and Elijah Moore. What 2 would you play?
Oh man, it's probably going to have to be Moore and Ruggs, just because I think that they're going to have to throw. I mean, they're going to have to throw. I think that now that Aguilar's gone, Ruggs is going to be a solid option for you. And while I like Ferkser, they have Julio, and if Julio's playing, that's going to be your big target, and they don't really throw a lot. I mean, they're going to be able to dominate with the run because it's Derrick Henry being a beast, A.J. Brown's a clear one, and then Julio. It's going to be a real struggle to play Ferkser there, and so and I love Sermon, but again, I still think that he's a rookie, and while this team is going to get out of control, Mostert's going to feast.
Yeah,
he is going to be such a big boom that I just don't see Sermon getting enough touches to be valuable.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you for the help. But honestly, it doesn't matter because I've already beaten Jack this week because I had CeeDee Lamb, Godwin, and Gronk on my team. So I've already won.
And I am the one who has this is the league that I have the problem where, I'll put Curtis Samuel in for the week that Will Fuller's gone. Nope. So yeah, your boy is hurting right now.
Well, I mean, is Diami out there? You might go grab him and just throw him in. Be all right.
There's no way.
Not.
Yeah, I'm not going to. I think he's not. There's no way.
Oh, man. I just realized I didn't set my lineup for our staff league.
It's still, no, it started. It's for Sunday.
Okay.
It's for Sunday. Don't worry.
All right. Well, now you've helped Jordan to beat me down even harder. We will say goodbye to all of our fans that have joined us tonight. So thank you, everyone, for joining us here tonight. I really appreciated your questions. So, Jordan, do you have any pluggables to plug?
No, except you can find me on Twitter at Donald McJordan. Follow along. I am editing the waiver wire report every week for Important Nonsense. We have some good writers there, so look out for that. Very helpful. Usually out Sunday night, Monday morning read. So yeah, that's about it.
And Jason, yeah, of course, you have all of the pluggables to plug.
Yeah, find me everywhere. That FF Nerd, literally everywhere. Whether you're playing Xbox, you want to play with me, I play a lot of Warzone. If you want to find me on TikTok, I'm there giving you advice. I've started doing all that nonsense, and it's FLA, Discord, literally anywhere you can. Well, that's not true. I just remembered in Sleeper, I'm actually that FF Nerd 1. So if you try and find me there, that's the way to get a hold of me there.
But everywhere else,
everywhere else is that FF Nerd. I'm just saying.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us here tonight. Thank you guys for debuting the Friday Night Insights podcast with the best theme music known to man. And just thanks for listening. You can find me everywhere at Javanaugh87. You can find this show every Friday night where we will be giving you advice on who to play, on previews of the weekend. It's going to be a good time, so make sure you stick around.